Democracy is a system of government in which the citizens exercise power directly or elect representatives from among themselves to form a governing body like parliament. Democracy is sometimes referred to as rule of the majority. Democracy is a system of processing conflicts in which outcomes depend on what participants do, but no single force controls what occurs and its outcome. The state of democracy in Africa is one of the most controversial and difficult questions facing the continent today. Is Africa getting more or less democratic? Why have so many African countries become stuck in muddy grounds between democracy and authoritarianism? How can we design democracy so that it better fits African realities? Academics and researchers and media commentators all give different answers on the question about democracy. Some would give up on democracy in Africa, seeing it a dangerous experiment that too often goes wrong. Others believe that the early signs are promising and that if we keep on the struggle for another generation, democracy will become entrenched within African society. Since the dawn of African independence on colonial in early 1960s, African liberation leaders, founding fathers, and current leaders have sought to justify the one-man, one-party state and avoid multi-party democracy by fabricating a blend of self-serving arguments which converge on the notion that in Africa there is a democracy before democracy. Before Africa can have a political democracy, it must have economic democracy. Africans are more concerned about meeting the economic needs than having abstract political rights. Liberal democracy could come to Africa only after significant economic developments have been achieved. Remember, we are on the program Talking to Africa, and today we are looking at what is the level of democracy in African countries. To discuss this point further, I am being joined by a panel of 3 members, and the first member is Madam Beatrice Mirangu, who is a motivational speaker. Welcome, Madam Beatrice. The second person joining us is Madam Kate Lagat, who is a gender and community development specialist. Welcome, Madam. And 3, I'm being joined by Mr. Jimmy Mjama, who is the director of Christ Phillips Africa. Welcome, Mr. Mjama. We want to see about our country or our continent, Africa. I want to start with Mr. Njama. How can Africa manage the issue of ethnicity so that at least we realize the concept of democracy in our continent?
Thank you very much, host of this program. First of all, to me, ethnicity in Africa is one of the big problems that Africa is facing. To say so, I can point one of the countries, that is Ethiopia. A community there is leading violence. They are complaining that they are being marginalized. And by doing so, if government does not take care or take precaution, it will end up causing civil war. These are some of the things that are causing the level of democracy in Africa and making that system can't work in Africa. Again, there's an issue to deal with legal order and basic rights. We found out, can we tell Africa that things to do with freedom of thoughts and expression, things to do with free worship, fair trial, these are some of the things that are affecting the democracy in Africa. And a good example again is Ethiopia. I'm sorry to say so. Recently, it had prison with opposition leader. And again, there's some of the journalists who had prison. And these are some of the things that are making this catalyst of democracy. The people have problems, things to do with democracy. But to me, some of the African countries lack this issue.
Thank you. So in simple terms, you are simply saying that the issue of basic rights in Africa is not really being expressed as expected.
Yeah, because it's less when somebody starts questioning a government about certain information. Maybe someone needs information from a government, the active government.
Yes.
That's the way the problem starts. And we see this compared to European nation or the European continent. Africa do face this problem. One is being deported, one is being tortured.
Can we simply say that it's only that these people don't really want to ask these questions, or they just themselves fear that I'm not supposed to ask a question? Do you think that with the issue of basic rights, do you think that the citizens themselves fear asking the questions, or they are just sure that whenever I ask, I'm being going too much to the government? Maybe I ask you.
I would say that, yeah, in a way you can fear, because just the way Jimmy said, we say that whenever someone wants to ask about something, you're either deported, you're tortured, or you're even imprisoned, which leads you to like, you fear. It's obvious you fear, because if your life is endangered because you want to know about, let's say, any case or any mismanagement of funds, then you feel that someone is going to torture you. Tell me, you come up and say, I want to know about something. You obviously not let.
Madam, let me get your point.
We have different constitutions. The hard question we need to ask ourselves is, do these people, do this government observe the rule of law? They follow the constitution? Because, for example, in our country, Kenya, we have a constitution in place whereby citizens have certain kind of entitlements of their rights and protection. So you look at, there are several privileges the citizens have: access to information. That means when citizens want to require something under their constitution, they are entitled to it. So by that I'm saying about observation of the rule of law, look at African continent, protection of the human rights is not, we cannot compare with the Western countries.
The Western countries.
Yes.
Thank you very much. Now, still back to you, Madam Kate. Can you tell us about how the African leaders, we find that most of them want to hold on to power. Do you think that is also a way in which they are restricting democracy, or they are removing the democracy now?
Okay, thank you. I will say that most of the African leaders, they want to stick to power. I will give an example of our neighboring country here. I have a lot of respect for Uganda. The president of Uganda, President Yoweri Museveni, has been in power since 1986 and is still holding on to power. In fact, recently there was a bill, they want to change the constitution so that they can add another, they want to extend the presidential term to more than 75 years. So if you look at the African context, leaders want to hold on to power. You can imagine a 70-year-old or 75-year-old man wants to hold power. When will the young people have the opportunity to lead? And then also you look at countries like Angola, whereby the president has been in power since 1999. He doesn't want to relinquish power to the younger people. So there's a lot of selfish interest amongst the African leaders. They want to relinquish power to the young generation or to other people.
Yes, but you still find that maybe the citizens themselves enjoy that person being in power.
I really don't think so, because at the end of the day, you look at the system of government whereby the executive has no powers compared to the other acts of government. So in other words, the citizens themselves don't have a voice. They cannot speak, they cannot air out. For example, I will give you an example of DRC Congo. They were supposed to be having an election, but the president has said they will be postponing elections up to next year. There's a lot of intimidation. Right now there's war, there's conflict in DRC Congo because the citizens are protesting against the government, but the government is using force against its people.
I'd like to add to Madam Kate,
Yes.
the thing to do with DRC Congo.
Yes.
The same applies, they say that the president, he has refused to move out of power. And some of the things, if you go deep into that, what you call accountability and transparency, maybe he fears if another person comes, things to do with accountability and transparency. Because one of the reports released by Info Expert Answer and Transparency International shows that DRC lacks that transparency. And these are some of the things that Madam Kate is pointing out. Some leaders in Africa, they're refusing
to give all the power. So that is it is restricting that democracy.
Yeah.
Yes, madam.
Okay, maybe to add on that,
Yes.
I will also talk about corruption. What is making African leaders want to stay in power is because of resources, corruption. They are stealing a lot of money, they are accumulating a lot of wealth, which is meant for the citizens, and putting them in the offshore accounts.
Yes.
We have, for example, I will still give an example of DRC Congo. In the world, DRC Congo is rich in terms of resources. If you look at several countries, Uganda, if you look at Kenya, the level of corruption, not only even amongst the African leaders, the people at the ministers, Eritrea, and so forth. These people they want to use these resources for their own interest, and what is making them stick to power is because of the resources. They want
they benefit from the resources. They benefit from the resources.
Yes.
What about madam? What is your view on
I
that?
think I should join with my fellow panelists here and say that the reasons why you find these leaders wants to stick to power is because of their personal interest.
Yes.
And they also fear that maybe when another person comes into power, and then maybe that person is someone who is opposing them.
Yes.
There's a way that person will still wants to hold all these resources from getting into their pockets. That's why you find most of the people, they want to stick to power and benefit themselves for their own interest. And you find that many of these leaders, they have a lot of connections in other countries. Like the issue of Panama Papers. You find that in that Panama paper, there were so many offshore accounts.
Yes.
So many offshore accounts that were smuggled from Africa.
Yes.
Are well of like 44 companies in 54 countries.
Almost all
Yes,
countries.
44 countries, 44 companies in 54 countries. They were involved in the fund embezzlement.
Yes.
Whereby you find that sons and daughters of ministers, brothers and sisters, husbands and wives of the big fish in the government in African countries were involved in these things. So you find that they used to smuggle funds from Africa, which are meant for development in African countries. And we ask ourselves, if we as Africans, we cannot question such scandals, such corruption issues, where is the level of democracy?
And the issue to do with decentralization and devolution of power.
Yes.
It was discussed somewhere for development to work in Africa.
Yes.
So that every person or a common person to have that taste of development or sense of service. Decentralization, devolution must take course. The formula was just simple. Lower responsibility from top level management to lower level management.
Thank you very much.
Okay, to add on that,
Yes.
about devolution, I also want to add my voice about Kenya.
Yes.
There are some counties whereby devolution is working.
Yes.
So it goes back to the leadership and democracy. Because if you look at counties like Makueni County, devolution is working very well. Power has been distributed to grassroots people.
Yes.
For a long time, those are the areas which are known as marginalized areas. But if you look at right now, the farmers,
They are becoming more resourceful.
They are becoming more resourceful.
Yes.
They are using the resources which are available. I can say that in a way, it depends with the leadership of the counties, but in a way, devolution is working. Decentralization of power is working in Kenya, depending on the type of leaders that the people choose.
Madam Beatrice,
Yes.
you have talked of the worship of one man state. How does that is affecting our democracy?
The worship of one's man state, that is like the viewing of someone like the president as a big man in the nation, the father of the nation, or particularly a man who is above the law.
Yes.
Then you find that in many countries in Africa, you find that if that president commits any treason, cannot be put to trial.
Yes.
Why? Because he's in power. Maybe that constitution of that country does not allow that the president should be kept in trial because he's the ruler. He's the ruler.
Yes.
So you find that a good example is Zimbabwe. the president of that nation had to be forcibly removed from power just because he has overstayed by his own army.
Yes.
His own army forcibly removed him from power. Now, this shows that still in Africa, the level of democracy is still at its.
What is your point, Madam Chair?
What I wanted to add on, for example, the case of Zimbabwe,
Yes.
I'm seeing these citizens are more empowered in terms of information. Right now, people are now aware of their rights. That's why people are demanding accountability. Hold on to power. Can you step aside that we have fresh blood? Because right now, as we are looking at, people are more empowered. They know their rights. They can put the government into accountability, those leaders. That's why you see many African countries, there is some kind of uprising. For example, what happened in Zimbabwe, what happened in what is happening in South Africa, what is happening in DRC. There's another country is it Sierra Leone?
Yes.
Was it Sierra Leone whereby the president manipulated the elections?
Yes.
And then he was forced out by the citizens. So if you look at right now, citizens are more aware. There is a lot of awareness.
That wave is coming to Africa generally.
Yes, there is a new wave in Africa. And with time, we are going to see a lot of changes.
So the army, the military, should be reformed so that it should not be our army, but a professional army that deal with things professional way.
Yes. On the point of the military, before I come to Madam Kate, can we see that does the military has a role to deal with the democracy of the country? Does the armed forces play a role? Let me start with Madam Beatrice.
Thank you very much. As for me, I still think that the military interference with the democracy of so many countries, let me say so many countries in Africa. For example, the other day in DRC Congo, or in Somalia, for example, the military really oppressed the citizen in a very bad way. And when there's this military interference, you find that most of the time the economy fails. And what does it mean when the economy fails? When the economy fails, it means that many youths in that country are rendered jobless. They cannot possess any skills. Why? Many of the institutions like universities or schools, they have to be closed down because there's havoc everywhere. So I think that if this issue of the military interference with the governance of the country is not looked into, I think we still have a long way to go.
I will still talk about DRC,
Yes.
Congo. When the military takes over, there's always a lot of intimidation of citizens. And if you look at who is most affected when the military takes over power, it is the women and children. There's a lot of displacement. That means there's a lot of violation of human rights. You will find that a lot of women are sexually abused. And if you look at those, that is the most vulnerable groups, the women and the children. And also, if you look at also elections in Africa, when we just talk about election, there's always that mentality that election is associated with violence.
Yes.
For example, in our country, Kenya, when you say we are going for an election, you will find that the issue that my friend here had raised on ethnicity, you will find that when we just mention election, the citizens know that there is an aspect of violence. You will find that people are moving to their areas or the place where they were born and so forth. So it goes back to the incumbency. They don't want to relinquish power to other people. There's a lot of intimidation.
As I have said, not our army, but army of professionals.
Yes.
And again, military should have geographical face, not one face. When I mean geographical face, it should feature every tribe and every citizen.
Yes.
Again, the thing to do with payment, military should be well paid. Because if they are not well paid, when the days comes to do with transition, whereby switching from one leader to another leader,
Yes.
that's the time military will take that advantage and top of the government or oppress the citizen. So they should be well paid so that they cannot interfere with what we call security.
Yes. what is the relationship between the gender and the leadership in Africa?
Thank you very much. Being a gender specialist, when you talk about women in leadership, that is something I hold very close to my heart. For example, in Africa, we can say that we've made a lot of progress in terms of women in leadership. For example, in 2006, the first democratically elected president of Sir Johnson Sirleaf was elected in which country? In Liberia. She was the first democratically elected president. After that, we went to Joyce Banda of Malawi, and then we went to President Amina of Mauritius. So, in other words, African has started embracing women in leadership. And also, if you look at the context in our Kenyan context, the promulgation of the Kenyan Constitution, at least it has tried to bring women. There's some kind of affirmative action. Women are being brought on board. We look at the 2/3 gender rule. There's some aspect of representation. For example, a country like Rwanda. Rwanda has more women leaders in the world. So, in other words, women also need to be included. For a long time, the African continent is that it has been a patriarchal society. They have never believed in women. But recently, we've looked at them embracing women leaders. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Now, as we wind up, I want. What is your views? What is your views when it comes to? We find that Africa still depends on foreign aid. What are your views when it comes to the issue of foreign aid? Is it affecting the African democracy, or is it supporting the African democracy? Maybe I start with your opinion.
Okay, I will say that for dependency on foreign aid, it affects our policies in place. Because at the end of the day, these foreign aid, they come with a lot of strings attached to it. So in other words, as long as the African continent will continue depending on foreign aid, we will still lag behind in terms of development. So in other words, we need to be, there's a lot of, Africa is very rich in our resources. In other words, we need to curb on corruption. If you look at, we need to use the resources which are available in our own continent. Because if we continue depending on resources, and this aid, we always talk about aid is not free.
It's foreign aid. You see, maybe we have the resources, yes, but you find that for us to get them to maybe produce the resources, for example, the mining of the minerals we have in Africa, Africans might not be in a position to do them on their own. Do you think the support from the foreign countries?
That's where we need what you call visionary leaders.
Yes.
Who are able to do what? To equip their youth or their community with some of their equipments. Maybe it's excavators, but like JC, we found that they are mining using bare hands.
Yes.
Even
which is very dangerous.
It's very dangerous. Some of them they are handling minerals that are radioactive.
Yes.
So we need visionary leaders who will have what we call passion and power to move this country from low level to top level. And by doing that, they need what we call sacrifice to make sure they brought those services to common knowledge. That's why we elect them.
What is your view, Madam Beatrice?
I would ask this question. It's true. Maybe it may be true that we need foreign aid.
Yes.
But in a way, let us ask ourselves, why do we need this foreign aid? First of all, I agree with Madam Kate that nothing is free.
Yes.
Because in one way or another, we are going to pay back what they give us. And how are we going to give back to them? Obviously, we do not have the funds to give back to them. So what are we going to do so that we can pay anything that they lend us? We are going to use our minerals. That is why you find in many of our maybe petroleum wells, or let's say any mineral, you will never find an African getting included that way. Why? Because they are using that as payment of their own loans. Whatever they lend us, we're going to pay them back with our minerals. Minerals which are supposed to be helping Africans not people from outside. We are supposed to be selling to them, and if they are very fair, we are supposed to sell to them, not use it as a payment mode.
Yes.
So the reason why we want to get foreign aid from them, I really don't see the reason why. Because if we extract our minerals and sell to them, we get our own funds, which will be used to develop our countries.
Now, as we wind up, what do you think now is the solution to the problems we have talked about, the challenges we have had, and what should be the way forward? Let me start with Mr. Jimmy.
Okay, to deal with the solution with ethnicity in Africa, first of all, countries that are facing what we call ethnicity, they have to form a commission, two Justice and Reconciliation Commissions. These are commissions that will find out the truth about what the bitterness this tribe are passing. Because some of them are things to do with land, things to do with stolen properties, resources. Maybe the minerals are being stolen in their community. And through that, they have that bitterness. And Truth and Justice and Reconciliation Commission will be able to find and see how they're being compensated.
Yes.
Again, I'm urging when this Truth and Justice and Reconciliation Commission have been formed, the problem of the Rwanda is not a problem of Kenya.
Yes.
The problem in DRC is not a problem with South Africa.
Yes.
Different level, like in Namibia, we have the community known as Herero and Nama. They were massacred, that bitterness. So the Truth Commission should be formed.
What is your point, Kate, as we wind up? Because of time, just 1 minute, you give us the solution.
Okay.
The general solution to the problem.
Okay, my contribution on the solution to African problems can be solved as Africans themselves without outside interference. And first of all, as countries, we need to change structures. We need to have a constitution in place. We need to have independent institutions whereby the executive that does not hold power, let him relinquish power, let power be decentralized in different structures. And also many African countries need to change their constitution. The power needs to go back to the people. As I conclude, I would also like to want to contribute that at times also we need to tell a different story about Africa. Africa is very rich in terms of resources, in terms of skills. We have the potential. For example, some time back in 1960s, in the Asian tigers, we were the same level of development. We need to ask ourselves, why are they now far ahead of us? Yes, and in 1960s we were on the same level. It's because of the type of leadership. So we need to change our lenses. We need to tell a different story of Africa.
What is your solution?
For me, my solution lies on corruption mostly. I think we are supposed to change the way of managing data. Let us develop our technology in a way that you found that the Panama Papers, they used to use papers to treat people. So if we use something like something that can manage data, yes, a very new technology which can manage data in Africa. In each and every country, we have that advanced technology in managing data. That is a very big solution on how we will be managing our resources.
Remember, this is the program Talking to Africa, and I've been your host, Machele Mieno, and I want to thank all the members. Thank you very much, my families, and God bless you. Thank you very much.
These are the days of Elijah, declaring the word of the Lord. And these are the days of your servant Moses, righteousness being restored. And though these are days of great trial, of famine and darkness and sword, still we are the voice in the desert, crying, prepare